Right now, we turn our attention to Congress and to Washington, D.C. Congressman Scott DeJarlais is always gracious with his time. He is back in Washington, D.C., it's my understanding, preparing for what should be a fairly robust several days, as well as a fairly robust 119th session of Congress. Congressman, good afternoon. Thank you for being on with us.
Good afternoon, Matt. Good to be with you.
Always a pleasure. Let's start not with the CR, although I want to get into that, but I want to start with drones. We had Senator Bill Hagerty on a minute ago, and Senator Hagerty expressed kind of confusion and dismay that more was not being related to the American people regarding this whatever's going on. Donald Trump said it pretty succinctly yesterday at Mar-a-Lago, Scott. He said, look, the government knows what's happening. They're just not telling us. The Biden administration says they don't know what's happening. What, if anything, can you tell us about this? And what's the mood in Congress? Because I have to feel like congressmen and women are getting rather frustrated at the inability for the White House to give us any information on this front.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think they know what these are, whether they're commercial drones, whether they're military, whether they're covert, whether they're foreign actors. I do think they know. We have not been briefed in our Armed Services Committee as we speak. The House Intelligence Committee is getting a briefing right now. Sometimes ours follows theirs. And so hopefully we'll find out. But, you know, what a lot of us do fear is we see what are being done with drones around the world in Russia-Ukraine war. I mean, I feel like the next terrorist attack on this country could very likely be drone-oriented. So it's understanding that people are upset about this and maybe even more upset about the lack of transparency because, I've had people say these are just aircraft, like these are planes. Well, they're not. They're drones. And, you're hearing all kinds of stories. We have the ability to shut down their GPS, bring one down. They're not doing it. And so I think by the end of the day, we're going to know a lot more because a lot of times when you have classified briefings up here, you'll hear just as much about it on the evening news tonight. So hopefully tonight we'll have a clearer picture, but it's been a problem with this administration since their inception. The transparency is not there. People aren't stupid, and they can see it with their own eyes, and why we're not getting answers, I have no idea.
Do you have, would you venture a guess? Do you have a guess? Do you have any gut feeling, Scott?
Well, my gut feeling has got to be somehow related to intelligence, something, why would they keep it from us if it was just commercial drones? My understanding is you're supposed to have your drone within line of sight. That doesn't seem to be the case. There's issues with airspace. There should be arrests being made. These things should be brought down. So my gut feeling is it has something to do with covert activity. I don't necessarily think it's foreign actors, although as many illegals that have crossed the border, you can't rule that out, but I think that they would be bringing them down if it's the case. So I think we're going to find out that the government knew more than they were telling us.
Congressman Scott DeJarlais is with us this afternoon talking about activities happening in Washington, D.C., not the least of which is this concept of yet another continuing resolution. I know you, Scott. I don't think that you have there's any joy in feeling like you have to do this, kick the can down the road until March. Help Tennessee understand, your district and beyond understand why, this is the best thing that we can expect, at least until Donald Trump is in the White House. I expect that this continuing resolution is going to pass, and tell us the details. It will last until March. Is that correct?
Yeah, March 14th is what they've agreed on. Everybody's trying to jump in and get a bite of the pie. The ag community has some late demands. There's disaster money that some people agree on, for the flood victims in East Tennessee and North Carolina. But unfortunately, as usual, they tag a bunch of pet projects in there that have nothing to do with disaster relief. So it's Christmas season. Everybody's trying to get their present put under the tree. And it's very unlikely a CR that I'd be able to vote for just because of all those reasons. But, when we did this CR a few months back, I think the conservatives wanted to push it till March so we would have more control. And, of course, everything had to go our way, which it did. Now I think Speaker Johnson and everyone else wishes we'd done it that way. But, no, it's not good. It means that Congress, once again, didn't do its job. It means that they didn't get the appropriations bills done. We didn't pass a budget. So hopefully I'm optimistic about what lies ahead, and let me diverge just a little bit how pleased I am that the American people saw through the facade that the media tried to create, everything from hiding Biden's health to how great Kamala Harris was to how good the economy was, despite you being broke, all the different lies that we were being told. And on election night, they came out and rebuked that. So that gives me optimism going into this next year with an administration that's made a lot of commitments to get a lot of things done. And we've got Vivek and Elon. We've talked to them about, cutting spendings. Can they cut $2 trillion? I doubt it. But anything we can do that points us in the right direction is going to be a plus. And so the biggest problem we're going to have is the House of Representatives. That slim margin is even slimmer. We have the Senate now. We have the White House. So we're really going to have to work together in the House to make positive things happen. And it's going to be a tough lift. But, the CR is crap. It's not the way we're supposed to do business here. I'm not happy about it. And so I can't really tell Tennessee why they should be happy about it, other than I just hope that with the opportunity we've been given by the voters that we see a better outcome next year when we're doing this process.
Well, and you and I talked for a long time. Scott DeJarlais is with us, by the way, representing the 4th District of the state of Tennessee, and always gracious with his time on the Matt Murphy Show. And so I don't want you to, necessarily feel like I'm yelling at you, but we hear this so much, and each time we hear it from people that don't want to do it, they tell us, well, just give us a second and wait till next time. You can understand why there are people listening to us right now that are kind of jaded to this overspending, considering how many times we've heard it. Oh, we'll get them next time. Help me feel confident that this time around it's different, Scott.
Well, Trump is different. You can tell by his demeanor he's different. He's got a different strategy. And my question will be, we'll talk about this again later, because Congress certainly has underdelivered for a long time. And what we got to see is whether the people are willing to go along with the tough cuts and the tough choices it's going to make to turn this ship around, because we're going to have to cut into a lot of people's spending, and everyone's fine with cutting spending until it touches their house. So if it involves Meals on Wheels, if it involves SEFRA, if it involves Head Start, if it involves programs for the arts and, different things that some people are going to have a real problem. I think it's got to be across the board cuts. We've got to get into the DOD. We just passed a huge bill that you could probably replay our interview last year. And there's a lot of spending in there that needs to be cut, a lot of waste, a lot of contractors that need to be held accountable. And I'm saying all the things that but can Donald Trump, can Vivek, can Elon, can we get the American people to buy in? It's a matter of educating them. We got to tell them we're doing this because our country's going to be insolvent, and it's all going to hurt. We're going to have to tighten our belts, and you got to have the people buy in too. Once they see the plan, and maybe it's going to hurt them a little bit too, but we got to tell them why they're doing it and what the outcome's likely to be if they're willing to do it. So I think communication with the public, transparency that we've been lacking, is going to be the key to moving this forward in a successful manner.
Congressman, obviously the other body in the Congress, the Senate, the United States Senate, is charged with the duty of advising and consenting on presidential appointments, but surely you've been watching this, as the rest of us have. Any highlights for you? Any appointment possibilities that cause you any sort of concern, or are you happy with, for the most part, the selections of Donald Trump for his new cabinet?
A lot of them, frankly, I don't even know very well. Pete Hegseth, I don't know. I maybe saw him on news. I don't know. It would be different than what we're used to. Anything would be better than what we have right now.
Well, sure.
So
yeah.
I'm willing to shake it up. I know Gabby Giffords. I consider her a friend, and so I know Kristi Noem very well. Sat with her for a long time on the floor. So there's a lot of picks that I think are interesting. They're certainly different, but you look at Biden's cabinet and the picks that he had. This isn't all about diversity. This is hopefully about people that are going to get in there and follow the Trump agenda. So we'll see how the process plays out. But if people are talking about abolishing the Department of Education, that probably would make some teachers nervous, but I don't think it's a terrible idea. If we're going to really cut spending, we're going to have to do some pretty dramatic things.
I've been pretty excited about the forward thinking and really his mannerisms and his way of talking since Donald Trump has announced that his new, quote, border czar, which is not an official position, but one that has been, much talked about. Tom Homan. has been very, very forceful in his conversations about how we're going to follow the law for the American people and not acquiesce to these illegal alien activities that have been going on for the last 4 years. I know you've been monitoring it as well. How excited are you? I know that you've been following this story for a long time. You've been talking about it for a long time. This seems the right man for the job. Would you not agree?
I do. Let me first. I meant Tulsi Gabbard. I think I said Gabby.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did. But yeah, certainly we knew who you were talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So at any rate, yes. I mean, I love what I'm hearing from this guy, and I think that when you look at what people went to the polls for, the economy, knowing that they're spending an extra $1,500 a month on groceries and other things, that was a top voting issue. But certainly the border is another one. And people say, well, you can't mass deport, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, these people know they were breaking the law. They were coming here because basically an administrator was letting them come here for, in my opinion, nefarious reasons. And just the sheer numbers, 2 million a year under Biden, it's unheard of when we far over the numbers that we talked about. So I like the fact that this guy is talking tough, and I think everybody around the country that has illegals living in hotel rooms and getting all the free education, free healthcare, free housing, all the things that we all can't afford right now. I think the tough talk is going to be better received than maybe some of the media outlets and some of the liberals are saying, because how do you recover from letting 10, 15, 20 million people in your country, a lot of them here who are criminals, as Trump says, and he's not wrong, the gotaways are mostly all criminals, otherwise they turn themselves in to get the benefits. So I think that I love the guy's tone, and I think people might be a little more receptive to it. Everybody knows somebody that's here and been here a while, and they're nice people, and they aren't bad people, but they didn't follow the rules and they broke the laws. And if you and I break the laws, unless you're Hunter Biden, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. And so, I think I'm really excited about the guy, and I think that all that tough talk, I hope it's real, because every illegal that comes here, Center for Immigration Studies says up to 88,000 per immigrant per year to the taxpayer. That's more than most homes make, and I don't know how we recover financially if we don't mass deport folks back to where they came from. Trump has to be tough on the borders, on the countries that are just letting people pass through, and I think he's ready and willing to do that on day one. And I think the first 100 days of this administration are going to be amazing, but I think just the first week or two are going to be really
it's going to be exciting.
Eye-catching.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Congressman, I assume, based on your language, real quick, and the minute or so that we have, I assume that you're going to be a begrudging yes vote on the CR?
Probably not. I've not voted for too many CRs in my years up here.
That's good news.
Pretty unlikely that I would support it.
Okay. Well, that's good news. That's what I like to hear. Scott, I appreciate sincerely your availability. I mean, anytime we call, you make time for us on Super Talk and on the Matt Murphy Show. I appreciate that, and I don't believe that we'll have an opportunity beforehand, so I hope you and your family have a very Merry Christmas.
Well, same to you, and I'm so grateful we have Super Talk in Tennessee because, it's the go-to outlet for conservative talk, and we appreciate you as well.